What not to do as a homeschool mom. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Mandy, the Handmade Homeschooler, and today we're talking about things not to do as a homeschool parent. So again, this does not mean that I haven't done these things. I'm just saying, don't do these things. That these things could be really detrimental for you, for your kids, and for your mental well-being, for your sanity, okay? For your sanity. If it's your first time at my channel, I want to welcome you. Make sure that you hit the like and the subscribe, and down below in the description box, I have a link to our free Facebook group, and there's links to free curriculum there as well if you guys want to sign up and download that. So the first thing I want to mention, this is super important. Do not threaten to send your kids back to public school or to public school if they haven't been. I've seen this time and time again in homeschooling groups, not mine. Personally, I have never seen this in our homeschooling group, but I'm in other homeschooling groups and I've seen this a lot, and it never has good results. And I know exactly why, because I studied child psychology. Never threaten to send your kids to public school. And this usually happens when mom has had a bad day, the kids are being wild, and you just yell that at them. Well, I'm just gonna send you back to public school. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because one, they're gonna test you, okay? They're gonna test that theory, and then when they see that you're not actually going to send them back, they're gonna keep behaving the way that they're behaving. And two, it can cause anxiety in the child to think that, like, oh no, if I misbehave, I have to go back to public school, or I have to go to public school. So you don't want to cause that either. And another reason why is because they're going to call your bluff. And some kids actually, especially older kids who were in public school and they were pulled out of public school, some of them still have lingering feelings towards public school because they had friends there and things like that. And they'll misbehave on purpose when they hear you say that, because they'll want to be sent back to public school. So just keep that in mind if you have a tendency or you have ever thought about saying that to your kids. So I would highly recommend that you don't utter that sentence to them, because you don't know what kind of reaction you're going to get out of your kids. The next thing I want to mention is overthinking your space. This one I'm really guilty of. I'm super guilty of overthinking my homeschooling space. And especially because we are a military family and we've lived in all kinds of houses, and I've had to homeschool like at the kitchen table. Sometimes I've had to homeschool at, in bedrooms and in the living room. And sometimes it's like now where I actually have a homeschooling room, but sometimes we get way too caught up, and I'm guilty of this because I was a teacher. It's really easy for people who are former teachers like me to get caught up in the space because we're so used to that mindset. Like, we have to have the specific space, we have to have the desks, and we have to have the wall art. And like the first couple weeks before the kids even come to school, we spend decorating our classrooms. So you can imagine it was really interesting and different, and at times almost annoying that I didn't have that to do. And now that we have our own homeschool room, I do decorate it every year. It's been this thing that's been ingrained in me since I've had my very first classroom. Like, I just love to decorate. So now I'm really blessed to have this space, but I didn't always have it. So I understand those of you who do not have homeschooling spaces and you homeschool at the table. And for a lot of people, that really works. For my particular family, the homeschooling at the table thing was not working. And a lot of it had to do with my kids are so far apart in age that we didn't have a lot of things that we could do as a table subject. So they each had like their own stack of books, and it was just a mess. It was an absolute mess. So it didn't work out for me, but it was something that like I really struggled with. Don't overthink your space. If you can homeschool at the kitchen table and save the space in your house, do it. Seriously, just do it. For us, it worked out this way, but it doesn't work out that way for everybody, and that's okay. Don't overthink your space. A lot of people homeschool on the living room floor, and that's totally fine. Some kids homeschool in their bedroom, on their beds. That's totally fine. You don't have to have like a dedicated space. One of the last things I want to mention is overloading the schedule. We have a tendency as homeschooling parents, especially because the world tells us, oh, your kids aren't socialized. They have to be in all kinds of things, or they're not going to be properly socialized. And a lot of that is because of the way that our society looks at the term socialization. And it really bugs me because we don't have the right mind frame or mindset when it comes to socializing our children. So I've said this in many videos. There are many ways to socialize your child. Socialization is not having your child sit in a classroom of 30 or so peers their same age and learning a subject. That's not socializing. And the fact that people think that that's what socialization is drives me up a wall. Most of the time, they're not socializing. I mean, at least they're not supposed to be. I used to get in trouble for socializing when I was in school. It was written on my report cards. I'm pretty sure I probably still have some of them on file. So let's be real. The only real time that kids are socializing in school is if they have some kind of group project and when they're in the lunchroom and when they're on the playground. Really, that's all they do at public school. So how much of their day is socializing? Not a whole lot. Most of the time, they're supposed to be learning and doing their work and listening to their teacher. They're not supposed to be socializing with people in the desk next to them. And actually, they get in trouble for that. And I know, trust me. So the point I'm trying to make here is what happens is because the world tells us, oh, you have to socialize your kid or they're going to be weird, then homeschool parents freak out and then they sign them up for everything from music lessons to dance lessons to co-op to sports, and their schedule is packed. Find something that they like as a hobby and have them do that. That's fine. Like my kids, it's karate, especially my oldest. He loves karate. So he's in karate lessons. Yes, he's socializing. It's sports. It's a year-round thing. I don't even have to worry about, seasonal type of stuff. But he's learning something. He's active. It's a sport. It counts as PE. And, he's really good at it. It's definitely an esteem builder type thing too. But I'm not going to sit here and pack their schedules full of things like co-ops and things like that I know that I will never be able to really fully commit to just because the world says that my kids aren't socialized enough. I don't care what the world says, okay? Honestly, I just don't care what people say about my personal family because their opinion doesn't matter. They don't pay my bills. Are they paying my bills? No. So their opinion does not matter to me. And even if they did, their opinion still would not matter to me. They're my kids. The only opinions that matter to me are God's, my husband's, and my children's. Other than that, I don't care. I just really don't care. I've gotten to a point where I just don't care anymore. So if you're at a point, especially as a new homeschooler, where people are getting on to you about, well, how much is your child socialized? Just remember this. If you overschedule those kids, they're going to be exhausted. They're not going to learn as well in school, and you are going to be exhausted as a parent. So resist the temptation to overschedule your child. A lot of times we only do that just so we can say to the haters or to people who are constantly nagging at us about socializing our kids, we just use it as a comeback. So when they say something about it, we can say, especially at Thanksgiving and Christmas, well, Johnny is in this sport, and we do co-op, and we do science club, and on the weekends we do this. Don't use those things just so you can get back at other people when they say things to you. Learn how to not care. Just learn how to not care. That's the easiest, most simplest way to get around it, is just stop caring. So that's all I have for this video. I hope you like my little kind of rant. But hopefully it will help, especially those newer homeschool parents who are like, what do I do with this situation? So hopefully you took away something from that that'll help you out. I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and happy homeschooling.